Hey, it's Chris. Welcome to the show. Real quick, in this episode, I recorded it on video first, so you can see the video on YouTube, but I do sort of show some things on the screen, and I also hold up some things to the camera. So you're welcome to listen to this audio episode, but you're going to hear me reference things that you're not going to be able to see. So if you want to see everything, go to the YouTube channel for Podcast Engineering School. The link is in the show notes below. And let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the Podcast Engineering Show. I'm happy that you're here. My name is Chris Curran. I produce podcasts for companies, and I also teach at Podcast Engineering School. And this show is all about helping you understand and learn professional podcast production. We go really deep into the audio production. I interview people, so I have guests sometimes, and I also do episodes like this one where I go over a bunch of my daily goody blog posts that I write about 3 times a week. And you could sign up for those daily goody blog posts as well on the website, which is podcastengineeringschool.com. Quick announcement, the upcoming semester of Podcast Engineering School is actually next Tuesday, January 11th. I know that's pretty soon, right? That's like 4 or 5 days from now. But the next semester is going to start in April. So just so you know, April will be doing another semester. So all right, the daily goodies we're going to cover in this episode are from between April 30th and May 19th of 2021. So let's get to it. I'm going to change my scene here because I'm doing video. By the way, you guys listening to the audio only, I'm actually recording this on video. So check out the YouTube channel, Podcast Engineering School. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you want to. So let's start with this one, bringing down a de-esser's lower range to start around 3 to 4 kilohertz if necessary. Yeah, so typically sibilance is from 5, for women is from 5 to 7 kilohertz. You know, they say it's different for every person, but no, for men is 5 to 7 kilohertz. For women is 6 to 8 kilohertz, but sometimes people have real sharp sibilance below that. Sometimes down to 4K, 3.5 or 4K. And sometimes people have sibilance above that. Like I had one client who she had a bunch of sibilance around 6,800 hertz, you know, centered around 6,800. And then she had more around like 9,800. So I had to use 2 de-essers. So, that's what you can do is you can actually use one de-esser or you can use a dual band. There's different things you could do. I'm going to show you. So let me show you a couple different plugins. Okay, so here's Reaper, and here is this plugin here is actually Fabfilter Pro Ds, and you could see that you could set the threshold. I know it's not huge on the screen, but you can. It also has split band, which is dual band, and also wide band, and then you could sort of dial in where the sibilance is, and you can actually see it. It's pretty cool. You could see it. Let me try to play. Sounds real. So you're. Oh, it's not engaged. That's why. Duh. And so here you see the colors underneath the 2 yellow dials. You could see the colors. Anyway, another de-esser that's really awesome is Soothe. Well, Soothe 2. What's great about it is that you can actually move the range around, and then you can also automatically reduces sibilance in whatever area needs reducing. This is like an intelligent de-esser. This is one of the best ones. Then you have the waves, this little waves de-esser. That's only 1 band. Then you have this is a wave sibilance, which can do dual band. I haven't used it much. And then of course you have the SPL dual band, which is a high, here's the high band and here's the low band. Yeah. So there's various de-essers you can use. So if someone has sibilance down near the 3, 4, 5 kilohertz range, and that's the harsh range too. That's where it sounds really nasty and harsh. So anyway, all right, let's move on to the next daily goodie. The dreaded Andumm sounds like Andumm. So, okay, so in podcast production, we end up producing audio and editing audio for people who are not used to speaking in public, right? People just, they say, and every other word is, So, and it's fine. People who aren't practiced in public speaking or have bad habits speaking, They say a lot. Okay, fine. But the problem with the Andumm, when people go, yeah, it's pretty cold out today. What they just keep saying that, right? So the problem is that's an that is almost impossible to edit out because it's connected with the word and then So you can't, I've done it before. You can do it. You got to do like really weird little micro fades and stuff. But these days I don't even bother to try because it's usually not that big of a deal. So that's the dreaded it's it can be, if someone says a lot, then yeah, it becomes grating and it becomes very difficult to listen to. So, but hopefully they don't say Andumm too often because that one's hard to get rid of. All right, let's move on to the next daily goodie. How do you set your final episode's LUFS level to -16 stereo or -19 mono? Okay, so this is basically the loudness standard for podcasting. This is the loudness of the audio that you should publish out into the world, because then if everyone does that, then everyone's podcast is about the same volume, and that provides a good experience for the listener. So I use Isotope RX. So when I'm all done mixing an episode and everything's done, my final step, I bring it into Isotope RX, and then if it's mono, I set it to -19 or stereo -16. And so some folks use Auphonic, which is a really cool web-based, well, they actually have an app-based Auphonic, but you can use a web-based Auphonic where it'll level it for you. It'll also do other cool things like roll off the low end, or even sort of compress it a bit. And you can also add your metadata with Auphonic. A lot of podcasters use Auphonic because it's very handy for someone who doesn't want to do everything manually, right? Like guys like me and maybe you, I want to do everything manually because I use my ears because I'm an engineer, and I can do it better than Auphonic can do it, right? Because every episode's a little different and all that. So, all right, well, that's setting the final LUFS level. So, yeah, let's see. What did some people say here? Oh, I had 11 responses. Wow. So Alan Tepper uses Hindenburg Journalist Pro, and apparently, I don't know if that exports, if you can set the LUFS level. Oh, yeah, you could apply the desired LUFS level as he exports it. That's pretty cool. Andy Greening says he tries to mix his audio to -16 before adjusting the loudness later, which is good. That's a good thing to go for, but it's just not that precise. Brian Ensminger, he tries to mix it to that level, but then he also uses Hindenburg. Barry Gary uses Auphonic Desktop, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's good for this one. So let's move on to the next daily goodie, firing a podcast production client. Okay, for those of you who are editors or podcast producers and you're an independent producer and you work with clients, sometimes you'll work with a client and they end up being a really tough client to work with, right? They'll miss deadlines. They'll, if they want the episode to be published on a Tuesday, they'll want to record it Monday night. And you know what I mean? Like they'll just put you under all this pressure, even if you tell them like, look, we have to record it at least 5 business days in advance of publishing. Some clients, they don't respect that. They'll wait till last minute and they're just hard to deal with. So my idea is that it's okay to fire a podcasting client. Like if they're not a good client anymore, just fulfill your whatever contractual obligations you have, fulfill that, and then just say, look, I'm not able to work with you anymore. And hand them off to one of your, well, I was going to say hand them off to one of your friends, but you probably don't want to hand off a bad client. So just tell them you don't want to work with them anymore. And this can also happen when, if let's say you're a beginner at podcast editing or podcast production and your rates are very low, meaning you're not charging that much. And then maybe a year or two later, your rates have gone way up, but you're still producing a podcast for a client at your old rates, which is not enough money anymore. So I've had to do that where I didn't fire the client, but I told them, I said, look, in the 3-4 years since we've been working together, my rates have tripled. And so we have to renegotiate the rate here. And so we did. And they ended up paying more, which was great, almost double more. So yeah, and so I know it's firing a podcast production client is sort of like, it's a mind game as well, because when you're in business for yourself, you need and want clients, right? That's how you make money. So to fire one, it just seems counterintuitive. But trust me, like in certain cases, it'll save you so many headaches that it's worth it to fire them. So, all right, next daily goodie: protecting your ears when mowing the lawn, etc. Yeah, this is actually important. Like I learned this early, actually. So I started playing the drums in high school, and actually my mother kept telling me to wear earplugs or we bought these like headphones for like people wear at a shooting range. Actually, like these. I brought these to show you. So I bought these. These are 3M. They're not headphones. They look like headphones, but they just drop the volume level like 26 or 28 dB. So when people fire firearms, they wear things like this. And so my mom bought me like a pair of these, and I wore them sometimes, but then like when I would jam with the band, I wouldn't wear them. But then after a few years, like very soon, not more than a couple years, I started wearing earplugs all the time when I'm drumming. So the point is, our ears are precious, right? And we have to protect ourselves as much as we can. And so if you're producing audio for a living, when you get into really loud environments like shooting guns or mowing a lawn, you might want to wear a little bit of protection. I also sometimes use these. These are like they're little foam things you put in your ear. And so what I do actually a lot of times is I'll cut this in half, and then I'll just put the little front tip. It's like half of an earplug in my ear, in each ear. So it doesn't cut off the sound totally. But look, I bought a whole thing of these, right? So if I ever need, earplugs, I got them. So it's very, very good to take care of your ears. And of course, when you're producing audio, you don't want to listen back to the audio at really high volumes for a long time. If you're producing audio every day for at least half a day or 3/4 of a day, you should get used to monitoring at a nice lowish volume, not too low. And what you do is at times you can turn it up. Like if you want to hear something, how it's sounding, yeah, you can turn it up for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, but then turn it back down and keep working. So ears are vital in life and to take care of. So be careful with your ears. Next daily goodie. Oh, this is the Rolls mic switch. So this is a little piece of hardware. You can see it on the screen, but it's the Rolls MS-111 mic switch. What it does is it's kind of like a mute button, if you want a mute button, but the thing is it doesn't really mute. It just attenuates the sound about 40 or 50 dB. So it brings the level down a lot, right? 40 or 50 dB is a lot, but it's not exactly a mute button, but it is handy for if you have a studio where people are coming in and sitting at a table. These are also called cough buttons. If you've ever heard that term, like in a radio station, they'll have this is that. So it's like whenever you have to cough, you can press the button and cough, and then let go. Or it's latching. It can be latching or momentary, as you could see in the title here. But anyway, these can be handy. I used to use one, but then I started using the mute button on my Sound Devices Mix Pre 6 interface, because that was right near me, and it was easy to just hit mute, and that was an actual mute. So that was good. That's what I used to use. All right, next daily goodie. Measuring the intelligibility of emergency announcements in public areas. Yeah, this is kind of fascinating. You know how when you're in an airport and all you hear is like, you know what I mean? If you're in a place that's really echoey and the speakers are placed badly, it's really hard to understand. So actually, I think Dan Hughley told me about this. Shout out to Dan Hughley from Focusrite. He, I don't know if he used to work for a company that did this, but there are companies that do this, and they will actually go to the public space and they'll measure the intelligibility of these announcements. And then if it's not good enough, and by the way, I don't know exactly how they measure it, but they do. And then they can tweak the speakers or tweak things. It's pretty fascinating, right? Oh, here it says measuring the speech transmission index. That's one of the processes. So I don't know. I thought this was pretty cool. I never really knew you could do that. I never knew that they did that. So that's pretty cool. All right, next daily goodie. I think this is the second to last one. Oh yeah, this is the NUGEN AMB. It's an audio management batch processor. I have not tried this. I actually don't know much about it, but someone mentioned it to me and they said they use it to dial in integrated loudness, momentary loudness, max short term, and loudness range. So those are pretty handy. So for instance, you could maybe use this as the last step to set your LUFS level, right? And it gives a few other, the short term and the loudness range is also handy to know sometimes. So yeah, and I guess that's a little picture of it there. Yeah, and I guess it's a batch processor as well. I don't know what that means. Maybe you could just batch process files if you had a lot of files to process. Anyway, by the way, just so you know, if you go on the website, actually in the show notes of this episode, in the description below, there's links to every single one of these blog posts. So if you want to go to the actual blog post and actually, for instance, right here, you could see that I link to the NUGEN AMB. So if you ever want links to things and stuff like that, links to the post, it's in the show notes. All right, and the last one is stripping audio from video live streams to use as audio podcast episodes. Let me say that again. That was a weird read, right? I read that very strangely. Stripping audio from video live streams to use as audio podcast episodes. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually recording a video using OBS, right, Barry?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm recording the video, and then after I record the video, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually drag and drop I think it's an MP4 file that I'm recording with the video. I'll drag and drop that into, let's say, Isotope RX, and then that'll be my audio version of the podcast, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'm stripping the audio from the video, and that's what I'm going to use as my audio podcast episode. So everyone listening to the audio podcast right now, that's what you're hearing. It's and unfortunately, here's one of the downsides to this is the MP4 video, which I'm recording right now. It's recording the audio at It's recording the audio at MP3 quality, but at 320 kilobits per second. So it's not the best audio quality. I wonder if I could actually just record wave quality audio with videos. So I'm not a video person, by the way. I'm just starting to make videos more and trying to make them better. Obviously, you could see I got the green screen. Well, you can't see the green screen, but you see I have a green screen, right? So anyway, a lot of people do this. Even big shows like Joe Rogan and stuff, that's what they do. They record it for video, but then they strip off the audio and send it through the podcast feed. So, and there's more details on this post, but that's actually it for today. So let's finish there. I do have a couple of announcements. I want to say that I appreciate you listening and watching now. For those of you listening to the audio podcast, definitely go to YouTube and to the Podcast Engineering School channel, because I'm going to be putting up a lot more videos. And I don't know if I should make the promise now or not, but I want to start doing each daily goodie as a very short video. That might be cool. And so also there's my course. I don't know if you knew about this. It's a shorter course that I created. So the Podcast Engineering School course is the full course, right? That's everything I have to give you. I give it to you to make you literally a top 1% of top 1% professional in the podcast production space. But the smaller course I made is called Getting New Clients at Higher Rates. And so if you're a podcast editor or producer and you want to get new clients, this is a shorter course. I think the total running time is like 2.5 hours or 2 hours, 45 minutes. Anyway, it's on the website if you want to check it out. I probably should have showed you a picture of it, but that's okay. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you have questions about audio production, always feel free to reach out to me, or on the video, you can comment below. And that's it. I will be back. I'll probably be putting out an episode every couple weeks. And again, alternating between interviews and these Daily Goody episodes. But if you have any suggestions for guests, let me know. If you have any suggestions for Daily Goodies, let me know. Barry also appreciates you, right, Barry?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's right. I mean, Barry, our audience is great, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, that's it. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.